What's going on, people? Welcome back, man. How about that fight last night? Naoya Inoue single-handedly saved boxing on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Let's talk about that. Naoya Inoue and Ramon Cardenas. Shout out to that young man for showing up and showing out. Both of them on a weekend where we had a couple duds, man. I mean, we were supposed to have Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero on Friday, set it off. That night of fights was a bunch of duds, man. Devin Haney was running all night. Teofimo Lopez had the best fight performance of the night, and it was good, but it wasn't something that required the fight event to be held in Times Square, New York. I'm just saying. And then you had Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, where Ryan Garcia got knocked down in the second round and didn't look like he had a whole lot of fight left in him. Yes, he was landing jabs. Yes, he was still active for the most part, but it was hollow volume, if you will. That's the best way I can put it. Hollow volume. He was throwing punches, but he wasn't throwing them with conviction. He tasted that left hook from Rolly Romero, and it seemed like he didn't want any parts of Rolly for the rest of the night. Ironically, it was the left hook that put him into that zone. And, I mean, it was what it was. And then Saturday night, you have Canelo Alvarez against William Skull, a fight that nobody asked for. And on top of that, William Skull, after winning the vacant IBF title at super middleweight, he comes in and fights Canelo, he was supposed to be Canelo's mandatory before, and instead of fighting him, he came in there to run around for 12 rounds and absolutely bore the crowd on Cinco de Mayo weekend. It was annoying for Canelo to have to deal with that. It was annoying for the fans to have to watch that slop that was put on display on Saturday night. And then Sunday night, Naoya Inoue coming over from Japan, over to Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. He's in Vegas, or in the U.S. for the first time in 4 years. He fought here 2 times, but that was during lockdown. So we didn't really get a true sense of who he was, at least to fighting public, because he was fighting in the bubble, so they didn't know who he was, when really he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the damn sport. And then he comes out last night against Cardenas, who's a very, very high-level opponent, top 10 contender in that division. And he comes out, gets knocked down, I believe in the second round. I think it was the second round. Got caught flat-footed with a left hook, put him on his butt, and he was hurt. Don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted. The monster was hurt. And he stood there almost in like a Seisan stance. What's going on, Mark? What's going on, big bro? He was almost in that Seisan stance. Took the 10 count. He might have got up after count 8 and got up cool, calm, collected. Didn't rush up and get the Bambi legs. Cool, calm, collected. Got back up and he didn't retreat. No, he maintained that distance and said, okay, now we can fight. And systematically went after him for the rest of the fight, and eventually was able to stop Cardenas in the 8th round, which was impressive. But don't get it twisted. Yo, good to see you too, man. Yo, I appreciate that. It is surreal hearing Doctor, but you and everybody in the dojo played a big role in that. You know, don't ever forget that. You guys shaped and molded me as a man, as a person, and it's helped me in every arena in my life, including the PhD. So good to see you here again, bro. But yeah, I'm talking about Naoya Inoue. I don't know if you saw the fight last night, but Cardenas, he made a fan out of me and a lot of people watching that fight last night, because he was throwing wicked punches, a lot of heat, a lot of speed, good technique, was not afraid, said, I'm coming in here to win, and he did not come for a paycheck. He came in there to knock Inoue out, and he almost succeeded at it. If that knockdown was not near the end of that round, I don't know if Inoue makes it out of that fight. He might get stopped. But he got knocked down at the end of the round, got back up, took his time, and then came back and just finished the show. And he single-handedly, in my opinion, saved boxing on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Canelo, the Mexican Terminator, he was not able to do it. He did not have a willing sparring partner. Ryan Garcia, he certainly did not do it. Rolly Romero, who I believe is Puerto Rican, he showed me more fight than Ryan Garcia did. And then Inoue and Cardenas, they fought like two Mexican warriors. Mexican warrior versus a Japanese warrior who has that Mexican spirit. Like, he's in there to fight. He don't care how big you are. He don't care if you got 10 pounds on him. He's coming in there to take your lunch money. So, you know, great fight last night. Check it out if y'all didn't see it. And let me know what you thought of that fight. And if you are an Inoue fan and also now a fan of Cardenas, because I want to see him moving forward as a fighter. He made a fan out of me, because I didn't know who he was going into this fight, but I know now. He's on my radar, and I hope he has a good bounce-back fight. Go back to the drawing board, young man. Do not be discouraged. You did your thing. Go back to the drawing board and come out and reestablish yourself, man, because you got skills, man. You got the skills to play the bills. And just get back to the drawing board, man. You right there, bro. But, yo, great fight there. And the other thing that came out of that weekend was Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez announcing officially their fight in September. So Terrence Crawford was in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season, ringside. I don't know if he fell asleep during the fight, but he came into the ring after the fight, and him and Turki Al-Sheikh and Canelo Alvarez made the fight official. He brought Turki Al-Sheikh brought in the big belt made out of all gold and all that jazz, and they had a face-off in the ring. And I want to get y'all perspective on it. Yo, Mark, look that up if you can. And even if you don't leave an answer while I'm on the live stream, leave it in the comments after. I think people were getting so wrapped up in Canelo being a super middleweight and how he's just going to walk Terrence Crawford down. I don't think they realize how big of a guy Terrence Crawford is. He is a guy that is a natural, I think, a natural 170 to 180 pounder who's fighting at 154. He's not a small dude. I have a similar build to him. Real short torso, very long limbs. He has like a 74 or 75 inch reach. And he's very, very strong. You know, he's deadlifting 500 plus pounds. He's a very accomplished wrestler. I think he wrestled in high school. He was a very accomplished wrestler. And you think you're going to go in there and be able to throw around Terrence Crawford just because he's been fighting at welterweight? People don't realize a lot of these fighters at every weight division, they drain down to fight at weights that they don't normally walk around at. Yeah, 1 second. And Canelo Alvarez, he's a natural 175 pounder. When he was fighting at the 152 pound catch weights, he would walk around at 175. So he would drain weight, which most guys do, to make weight, and then he would rehydrate. Sometimes 20 pounds. So you weigh in at 152, you might be coming in at like 165 to 170 on fight night, right? Because that's your natural weight. So if you think that he's going to come in there and I think just throw Terrence Crawford around, I think you're in for a rude awakening. And I think Canelo knows that as well. That being said, Crawford is moving up 2 weight divisions from 154 to fight Canelo. So the one thing I don't like is that he's not taking a tune-up fight in the meantime before this fight, right? Canelo, even if you don't think William Skull is a game opponent, he's still a boxer. He's still able to at least keep you active so you can keep your timing right and stay sharp. Terrence Crawford, he's not fighting anybody right now. So that is the part that concerns me. If he had an interim fight, me personally, I would favor Crawford. But without this fight in the interim, it makes it very interesting moving forward. But some people may look at this fight against William Skull, and even though he was running around, just me, look at Canelo's footwork. Look at the way he cuts off angles. Look at how he has to set his feet before he punches. And then really critically think and ask yourself if that's going to work against a mobile opponent. Because if William Skull is able to run around for 12 rounds and frustrate Canelo, it might be a problem if Crawford is able to be mobile, but Crawford is going to throw back. And he's going to throw back and he hit hard. So it's a very interesting fight. Let me know what you guys think, who you think is going to win. Reading the comments right here. What's going on? He says Crawford for the win against Canelo September 12th. Listen. That's what I think. That's what I think. But I'm gonna think over it more. But that's my surface level prediction, and it's something that I've thought about before. You know, some people agree with me, some don't, but just as a fighter, looking at what he brings to the table and what Canelo brings to the table, stylistically, it favors Crawford. And let's see your comment here too, man. I appreciate you coming into the chat too, bro. I really do. He says, Tyrone says, I believe Madrimov was Crawford's tune-up for the Canelo fight. It was, but I just think that that's almost like 6 months ago now. So it'll be like a year layoff by the time September comes around. But Madrimov, I thought that was an excellent tune-up because people looking at Madrimov like, hey, you know, he went to 154. He couldn't hurt Madrimov. It's like, first off, Madrimov, he moving around. He's a moving target. Second off, Madrimov big as hell. And third off, Madrimov was not really trying to engage Terrence Crawford for every minute of each round because Terrence Crawford is hitting back. Madrimov is a highly accomplished boxer. I believe he's an Olympic medalist for, I think, is it Kazakhstan? I don't know. It's one of those Eastern Bloc countries. He's an accomplished amateur fighter, and he has long arms. I remember going into that fight, he had long arms. I remember at the weigh-in, if you see them standing next to each other, and Madrimov's arms are down by his knees, and Crawford had his arms down by his knees, their arm length is not really that different. Crawford has a longer reach, like wingspan. Not reach, wingspan, but his arm reach is similar. So when he decided to fight square up with Madrimov, I said in my mind, that's a mistake. And he won the fight, but he took more punishment than he needed to by fighting him head up. And which is why I think that Canelo's gonna he gonna see that, because Canelo got a 68-inch reach, 70-inch reach, and Crawford got like a 4 or 5-inch reach advantage on him. He knows how to use it. He gonna use it. It's not gonna be like Caleb Smith, who's like 6'3" with a long reach, but don't really have the type of speed and foot movement. No, like he gonna have the speed, he gonna have the reach advantage, and he gonna try to box his head off from the outside, and then make him have to close distance. And if you just look at boxing objectively, the person who has to close distance is always at the disadvantage unless you have better timing and you have better ring IQ than your opponent. But the person that has to come in and close distance, you are at the disadvantage. So people just kind of like look at the name. They look at the big name, Canelo, Alvarez, but they don't look at the metrics. Just look at the metrics and look at the fighting style. And that will give you a glimpse into why it could be easy or difficult for him versus a certain fighter with a certain style. So that's the reason why he had problems with Arislani Lara. Look up Arislani Lara. He's a current middleweight champion, maybe a WBA champion. 41 years old, just finished. He's on a tear, man. He's knocking everybody out. And he was never a knockout artist before. But I tell you what, when he fought Canelo back in the day, he's one of the only other few people that gave him problems besides Floyd Mayweather. And it's because he's built like me and Terrence Crawford. Short torso, but 74, 75-inch reach. And he's only 5'9". So he can just sit from range and just tag you. He ain't have to engage Canelo. He could just move around, pop, 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 1, 2. And Canelo had no answer for it all night. Now, obviously, Canelo's more experienced now. He's not as green as he was before, but in my opinion, not a whole lot changes. Not a whole lot changes. Because Billy Joe Saunders, good boxer, but no power. He don't want to stand there. He ain't really got the reach that Lara got. Lara, Cuban fighter, sharp, knows the angles. Canelo couldn't do nothing with him. And I don't see how it's going to be a whole lot different with Terrence Crawford, who actually has power, and who has a high IQ himself and has a nasty mean streak. I don't see how it's going to be terribly different unless Canelo's really going to sit down on his punches and be willing to eat shots. Other than that, it's like, I don't see the feet there. That's just me. You know, maybe y'all can leave something in the comments and let me know something I'm not seeing, but the feet ain't there. He got him better over the years, but the feet have never really been like Swift. So against Austin Trout, Floyd Mayweather, Arislani Lara, had significant problems. And then all those people have what? A jab. So it's going to be a very interesting fight, and I think those are some of the reasons why Terrence Crawford is so confident. in addition to being a great wrestler and having good leverage. You see how these things are starting to add up? So that's just my take. Another comment here. Appreciate you, brother. Leaving the gems, man. I'm reading your comments in a lot of time. Canelo's too flat-footed to keep up with Crawford, especially when he had problems against Skull. I can't read the rest of the comment now, but you said imagine Crawford, something else. I get where you're going, and that's the way I see it too. I've had a few arguments with people on Facebook and whatnot in the comments, and people. I'm not gonna put no names. I may put names when the fight happens, and if Crawford wins, I may put them up on a public wall of shame because they were so kind of ignorant. But I was just kind of astonished that people had such surface level insights on how the fight would play out. They just see, oh, Canelo hits hard, he cuts the ring off well, and he just gets everybody up out of there. He has good speed. How is Crawford going to deal with it when he gets hit? And that's a valid question. But it's almost like they don't think that punches are going to come back from Crawford. It's like they somehow conveniently forget that that's a thing. Now, obviously, Canelo is better than Errol Spence, has a higher ring IQ, a better jab, better fundamentals. But the feet, I'm with you. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. It's going to be an issue. But that's my thoughts on that fight. Let me know, leave in the comments what other fights you want me to hear me talk about. But I will be giving my breakdown pretty soon, or my preview of the rematch between Usyk and Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois looking for revenge because might have been a body shot, may have been a low blow. Who knows? Check the fight out, the first fight, and let me know what you guys think. But I'll catch you on the next one. Be safe. Enjoy your night, man. Peace.